let's start with these English conversations about spring interview questions and answers. It's opportunities to learn about this important framework for Java language, okay? And some questions about this framework, okay? Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay, it's introductions about Spring. Okay, and today we are going to learn about this framework. Okay, and to talk a little in English about some very important informations this framework. Okay, and anyone can read or speak in English. Okay, make yourself at home. Okay, então let's start the introductions, the spring overview. Okay, and the first questions is what is spring? Anyone can answer. Can read the answers these questions, please.
This is a framework.
Okay, the answers. What is spring? Can read, please. Spring
I can
is.
see. I can see.
Okay, go ahead. Can you read, please?
So I can. Uh, what is Spring? Spring is an open source development framework for enterprise Java. The core feature of the Spring framework can be used in development any Java application, but there are exceptions for building web applications on top of the Java EE platform. Spring framework targets to make Java EE development easier to use and promote good programming practice by enabling POJO based programming model.
Okay. Uh, about these questions, can you explain a little about what is Spring for you?
So, Spring it's an environment of many others projects. Spring is a generic framework. Java is the most principal framework in Java, and they are very project like Spring Security, Spring Boot, also, known Spring Boot, and the other like Spring Data. And let me see, and they are other options about the Java EE platform.
Okay. And the next questions is what are benefits of a Spring framework? Can you answer these questions, please, Antonio?
Yes. And light height. Spring is a light height when I when it comes to size and transparency. The basic version of Spring framework is around to, and be.
Okay. Continue, please.
Okay. Inversion of control and loosely coupling is an achievement in Spring with the inversion of control technique. The object gives their dependence instead of creating or looking for dependence object.
Okay.
In
Continue, Jefferson, please.
Aspect-oriented AOP. Spring supports aspect-oriented programming and separates application business logic from system service. Container. Spring contains and manages the life cycle and configuration of the application object.
Okay, continue.
MVC framework. Spring's web framework is a well-designed web MVC framework which provides a great alternative to web framework. Uh, Transaction management. Spring provides a consistent transaction management interface that can scale down to a local transaction is scale up to a global transaction. A2A. Uh, Exception handling. Spring provides a convenient API to translate in technology-specific exception to the JDBC, Hibernate, and GPO into consistent and checked exceptions.
Okay. And about these benefits of Spring Framework, what did you learn about these benefits? Can you explain, please?
And for me, the most important benefits about Spring Framework is when I was starting to learn and I understand how working the architecture about MVC to separate the services and the model from the view. It makes sense for me. It's much easier to implement this using Spring Framework and the inversion control. Uh, I took some time to understand this benefit, but now I think this is the turnkey about the Spring Framework, the important about Spring Framework in Java environment.
Okay. And the next question is, which are the Spring Frameworks modules? Can you describe about the Spring Frameworks modules, please? About this list, please?
Which are the Spring Framework models? The basic model of Spring Frameworks are form model, theme model, context model, expression language model, JD, JDBC model, or ORM model, or XM model, Java Messaging Service, AMS model, transaction model, web model, web service model, web structs model, web portlet model.
Okay. And Antonio, explain the core container application context module, please.
okay. This is the basic Spring model, which provide the fundamental functionality of the Spring Framework. Being factory is the heart of any Spring-based application. Spring Framework was built on the top of this model, which makes the Spring containers.
Okay. And about Bean Factory implementation example, can you read, please, Jefferson?
Bean factory. Bean factory implementation example. A bean factory is an implementation of the factory pattern that applies inverse of control to separate the Spring's configuration and dependence from the actual application code. The most commonly used bean factory implementation is the XML bean factory class.
Okay. What did you understand about Bean Factory?
Okay, bean factory is the main it's present of the Spring core. And I understand that the Spring Factory is the heart of the core Spring. And this is implementation of the factory, the inversion control, IOC. Uh, and the end of the explication, they are commonly used implementation of GML in factory class.
Okay. And about XML Bean Factory, can you read, please, Antonio?
Yes, I read. And the most useful one is org Spring Framework, Beans Factory, XML Bean Factory, which load its beans based on the definitions contained in an XML file. And these containers reads the configuration metadata from an XML file and use it to create a fully configuration systems application.
Okay. And about XML Bean Factories,
I
what
I
did you learn
never
about this?
I never use XML factory to create a configuration thing. I always use annotation, and I don't know more about the XML factory.
Okay. And can you explain the ALB module, please, Jefferson?
The AOP model is used for developing aspect for our Spring-enabled application. Much of the support has been provided by the AOP Alliance in order to ensure the interoperability between Spring and all the IOP framework. This model also introduces metadata programming to Spring.
Okay. And can you explain the JDBC abstractions and DAO modeling, please, Antonio?
Okay. With the JDBC abstraction on EAO model, we can be sure that we keep up the database code clean and simple, and prevent problems that result from failures to lose database resource. It provided a layers of meaningful exceptions on top of the errors message given by several database servers. It also makes use of Spring AOP model to provide transaction manager cells for object in a Spring application.